What is going on, Bucs fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with yet another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today we are going to be discussing the Buccaneers pass rush, and more specifically, their pass rush from the past few games. Now, when you look on paper, I think the Buccaneers have a pretty talented pass rush on paper. When you look at the names, Shaq Barrett, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, they drafted Yaya Diaby, they drafted Kalijah Kancey, obviously Vita Vea up the middle. They signed Greg Gaines. They even have guys like Will Golston there contributing. And then obviously we know Todd Bowles likes the blitz, but I'm talking more so four-man pass rush for now. We'll get into the blitzing a little bit later, but the pass rush to me has not looked great. And I think it's been a weakness of the Buccaneers defense, a defense that has played pretty well so far this season. I mean, they've held their own for sure. And they're a big reason why the Buccaneers still have a winning record right now, because there was times where the offense struggled and the defense was able to pick that offense up. So, whether it's creating turnovers, creating, favorable field positions. They have done a good job of that. But there's one area where I think they have been lacking, and it is the pass rush. Now, when you look at the stats honestly don't look that bad. Okay. They had 3 sacks against the Lions. They had 3 sacks the previous week, or the previous game, I should say, against the New Orleans Saints. Only had one against the Eagles, but the Eagles have one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in football. The issue though is, even though, all right, you see 3 sacks on the stat sheet versus the Saints, you see 3 sacks on the stat sheet versus the Lions. Doesn't, like, when you actually watch the games, you can tell that the quarterbacks just have too much time. The quarterbacks simply have too much time to sit there in the pocket, deliver a pass, and a lot of people want to blame the secondary. And I get it. The secondary has struggled at times this season. The secondary has struggled, especially on Sunday, gave up a lot of yards to Jared Goff. I get it. However, when you can't get a pass rush, it's going to hurt your secondary. It just naturally is. And I think that the two go hand in hand. I think a good pass rush will make an average secondary look pretty good. Now, I'm not saying the Buccaneers have an average secondary. I think Jamal Dean, Carlton Davis, Anton Winfield Jr. are good players. Ryan Neal has struggled a bit, but those guys still need help. And I think the pass rush can help those guys out. They're just not doing it right now. So when you look at the leaders here for the Buccaneers in sacks, Vita Vea leads the team in sacks with 3.5. Actually, a little bit quietly, but Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is second on the team with 3 sacks. Anton Winfield Jr. has 2, and then Anthony Nelson, Kalijah Kancey, Cam Gill, Shaq Barrett have 1 apiece, as Levante David also has 2, and then Logan Hall has half a sack. So, honestly, not terrible numbers. You're getting a lot of sacks from different guys. It's not just coming from one place. But like I said, when you look at the film and you watch these games, the quarterbacks just have too much time. And we saw there, Levante David, right, and Anton Winfield both have 2 sacks apiece. That's because they're blitzing. I talk about helping a secondary out. What happens during games is the Buccaneers pass rush cannot really get much of a rush with 4, right? They can't get a lot of pressure with 4 guys. So what happens is Todd Bowles has to blitz. When he blitzes, it's going to put your secondary on an island, and good offenses are just going to be able to pick that apart. One thing that really stands out to me when I'm reading these is Devin White. 0 sacks for Devin White. That is uncharacteristic through 5 games of the season. Very uncharacteristic of Devin White. I believe he had 2 or 2.5 last year in the opening game. Very uncharacteristic for him and Todd Bowles' defense. They haven't sent them on as many blitzes. They've asked them to play in coverage a good bit, but very uncharacteristic there for Devin White to only not have a single sack. It will change. I think it will change. He will get a sack, but not very like him. But regardless, they're even blitzing. Okay. So they can't get a pass rush with 4. They can't get a consistent rush. Then they start to blitz to try and affect the quarterback. When you do that, you're leaving your secondary on an island. You're forcing them to be in some pretty tough situations. And the thing is, the Buccaneers aren't getting any pressure when they blitz, even. Like, the Lions picked up the blitzes so well that the Buccaneers threw at them, and Jared Goff was able to scan the field, find an open guy. A lot of times when the Buccaneers are playing zone, a veteran quarterback like Jared Goff is going to be able to find the open man. They're going to be able to find that open hole in the zone because you can't affect them. So the pass rush, I think, needs to step up. Now, is it the end of the world? No. I still think Shaq Barrett, while he started off good Like, especially the Chicago game, he was really good. He has slowed down a bit. I think it's going to take him a little more time to get acclimated. I think people forget that he is coming off a very serious injury, like a major injury. So I want to give him a little bit of time. Obviously, Kalijah Kancey just returned to the lineup after being out, after only playing 12 snaps in Minnesota. So hopefully he can make an impact as well, especially in the pass rush area. He has the potential to. Kalijah Kancey, and actually shout out to Kalijah Kancey, because I thought he was the Bucs' best defender on Sunday. And that's not a good thing, right? When your best defender is a rookie defensive tackle who is playing in his first NFL game, basically. Not a great thing for your defense, but it is a great thing for the future. I do think Kalijah Kancey looks pretty good. So that's a bright spot, and you need Shaq Barrett to get going. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, like I was actually surprised when I read that he had 3 sacks. Not gonna lie, it is a quiet 3 sacks. So we'll see if he can continue to develop. This is an important year for JTS, of course. Vita Vea on track to pass his career high in sacks, which I believe is 6.5. So he's on track to do that. We'll see if the Buccaneers can get a pass rush. It's important to rush with 4, because when you have to blitz, you're really putting your secondary to the test. And right now, the Bucs secondary is still not 100% healthy. I know Carlton Davis, Jamal Dean, they're playing, but they're not 100%. And also, even when the Bucs are blitzing, they're not being as successful in getting home. When you blitz, you got to be able to get to the quarterback effectively and quickly, and the Buccaneers just haven't been able to do that. In New Orleans, Derek Carr, there was a lot of instances where he had a lot of time. You wonder why the Buccaneers give up a lot of 3rd and longs, why they gave up a lot of 3rd and longs to the Detroit Lions on Sunday, and that was basically the difference in the game. It's because they don't have the pass rush. On 3rd and longs, you're likely not going to be blitzing much. You need your guys with 4 to be able to win those battles, and the Buccaneers just haven't been able to do that. So let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the pass rush. I know some people were concerned about it before the season. Look, I think the Bucs defense has been a pretty good unit overall this season, especially with forcing turnovers, creating those opportunities for the offense to take advantage of. But I do think if there's one area that I'd have to nitpick, it is the pass rush. It has to step up. It has to be better. Maybe not sacks, but there's too many times where there isn't any pressure on the quarterback, and veteran quarterbacks are just going to be able to dice you up. It's just going to happen. Obviously, they have Josh Allen coming up in a few weeks. They need to be able to get pressure on a guy like Josh Allen. You need to be able to affect him, affect his throws, affect his timing. And I think a pass rush is just so important for this defense. And right now, the Buccaneers are lacking that. So hopefully they can find it. Hopefully they can dial up some different blitz packages to get some different looks in there. And hopefully the guys along the defensive line can step up and play well. Shaq Barrett, JTS, Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey, even guys like Greg Gaines, Anthony Nelson, who hopefully can come back healthy soon, Cam Gill, Yaya Diaby. Like, hopefully these guys can start to make an impact soon, because the Buccaneers defense and the Buccaneers team in general need them to. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Always curious to hear you guys' comments. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and go Bucs.